Good morning, Rebels, and welcome back to my life. This is part 2 of my episode recap and review of Game of Thrones this week. Spoiler alert for the show, but we will not be talking about the future of the story in the books. So let's go back to the Wall, where Jon Snow has to deal with not only Stannis Baratheon, but the Red Lady, Melisandre. Things are a little bit weird with the Night's Watch right now. You might remember that their Lord Commander, Jeor Mormont, was killed a while ago. Well, they haven't elected a new leader yet, but Janos Slynt is the acting commander until the election is held. Yet Stannis Baratheon and Melisandre are talking with Jon Snow all the time, so Janos Slynt probably isn't very happy about that. Stannis asking Jon to talk to Mance Rayder isn't about Night Watch politics, though. It's because they're friends, and as friends, watching Jon Snow try to convince Mance Rayder to bend the knee was kind of heartbreaking. You have to remember that Mance Rayder united all the northern tribes. He's made lots of chieftains bend the knee to him, so refusing to do so now is like maybe a little hypocritical, but Mance was able to unite all those tribes because that's who he is. He's the guy who doesn't back down. He makes you back down, except now he can't do that because Stannis has the Lord of Light on his side. In the long run, I do think Mance Rayder made a mistake. It's not good for him, it's not good for his people, but if he'd done anything else, he wouldn't be Mance Rayder. There are probably going to be some consequences for Jon putting Mance Rayder out of his misery on the funeral pyre, but not in the way we think. Remember, Stannis doesn't actually want Mance Rayder to suffer, he just wants the wildlings to fight for him. Now that Jon has probably earned the wildlings' respect by showing mercy, we're probably going to see Stannis try to use Jon to get the wildlings to fight on his side. By the way, quick question, why is the Red Lady so happy that Jon Snow isn't a virgin? Did anybody else find that, like, super creepy? The other plot lines for this episode were relatively minor, big characters, but not a lot going on with them, but it's all set up for some pretty big stuff to come. Sansa Stark and Littlefinger dropped Robb and Arryn off with Lord Jon Royce to watch over him while Littlefinger goes to do, I don't know, whatever crazy psychopath maybe pedophiles do when they're not being super creepy. Now, Littlefinger said he's taking Sansa to a land so far away that Cersei Lannister can't touch her, and it's hard to tell exactly what he might mean by that. I don't remember if this was covered in the books, actually. First off, it could be Winterfell. It's her home, and it is very far away from King's Landing. But the Lannisters control the Boltons hold Winterfell, so that doesn't seem very likely, and I don't think that Littlefinger would ever bring Sansa Stark within 100 miles of that nut job Ramsay Bolton. The southern kingdom of Dorne could be safe, and it's also really far away from King's Landing, but we haven't seen much to establish that Littlefinger has many friends down there, and traveling that way would bring them really close to King's Landing, so I don't think that that's very likely. He could take her even further north to the Wall, and in the end I think that's the most likely option. He knows that Jon Snow is at the Wall, so he might be relying on Jon's willingness to protect Sansa, who's basically his sister, and specifically his wording of Cersei Lannister cannot touch you could be a reference to the fact that the Night's Watch is beyond the reach of even the Queen. If she was there, Cersei couldn't do very much about it. Finally, in the show, we see Brienne and Podrick sitting at the side of the road while Sansa passes them literally yards away, and neither of them have a clue. Brienne is having a bit of a crisis. She doesn't know what to do with herself now, and Podrick's still following her around, and she's kind of annoyed. But Podrick is a loyal guy, and he's not going to abandon her just because she's being grumpy. I do know what happens to them in the books, so they're going to have a lot of stuff to do this season. That's it for this week's episode of Game of Thrones. I will be covering it again each week, so stick around, subscribe if you haven't already done that. 3 questions for today. What do you think Stannis Baratheon is going to do to Jon Snow? What do you think Littlefinger has planned for Sansa? And what do you think is going to happen to Brienne and Podrick? And if you've read the books, no cheating. As always, thank you for watching, Rebels, and I will see you tomorrow. Maybe. Bye! Just a quick reminder, Rebels, if you want to contribute to the YouTube channel, you can become a patron at patreon.com, or now you can give a one-time gift through YouTube's new fan funding feature. Just click on that little I at the top right corner of the video. See you tomorrow. Bye.